Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Oil and Gas Live Dialogues. I'm delighted to have with us today Martin Robinson, the Chief Executive Officer of IRISS. For more than 3 decades, Martin Robinson has been at the forefront of condition-based maintenance technology, charting new paths and setting benchmarks in the industry. His distinguished career began with a pivotal 16-year chapter in the British Army, where he specialized in the critical field maintenance of combat vehicles. Martin is a driving force behind the advancement of infrared thermography. International leaders regularly seek his expertise in maintenance and reliability, where he provides strategic insights on operations-driven safety and reliability programs and electrical preventive maintenance, and navigates the complex standards of NFPA and OSHA. Welcome, Martin. It's such a pleasure to have you on board.
Thank you very much. It's again, it's a pleasure to be here, and really looking forward to the conference. Really looking forward to the conference.
Thank you. Now, Martin, us to understand that in the intricate realm of the oil and gas industry, where productivity, safety, and efficiency converge, maintenance practices stand as the cornerstone of operational success. Being said this, safety measures in the oil and gas industry extend far beyond more than a mere obligation now, and it has become as a strategic imperative. Now, on this note, what is operations-driven safety and reliability, and how does it fundamentally differ from the traditional safety and reliability approaches?
Well, I think safety and reliability have always been two separate things. People have viewed them as two separate things. And find that what we've basically said is, look, you can't, if you're not reliable, you can't be safe. And if you're not safe, you can't be reliable. So if you actually start to think of safety and reliability as being one of the same thing, and to achieve either, you need to do both. So we're taking that concept into another field where we're bringing operators or operations more into it, because we know our traditional maintenance departments are overstretched. Say the least. I mean, that's a global phenomenon. So that's what we're trying to bring operators into the fold to alleviate the stress and to do some of the more day-to-day condition-based inspections, where the sometimes operators know the equipment better than the maintainers, to be very frank.
Yeah, right. And how do modern asset safety and reliability programs integrate ODSR principles to enhance industrial safety and efficiency?
Well, ODR, operator-driven reliability, has been a mainstay in many programs for many years. I mean, ODR is a known strategy, but IRISS, the way we approached it was, it can be expanded far out. So we know the benefits of ODR once we understand the safety benefits. But I spoke to a very good friend of mine, a guy called Ron Moore, who's a global phenomenon. Ron wrote many books, and Ron's concept when we were talking, it's like it should be operations, not operator, because operations gives it so much more breadth than just a singularity. So that's the difference, is by getting operations involved, it's working extraordinarily well.
Okay, all right. And what role does ODSR play in mitigating risk associated with critical assets and infrastructure in high-risk industries?
Well, again, it's if you think about it, maintenance, the traditional maintenance inspections, reliability inspections are done once, maybe twice a year. They're not done routinely. They're sort of to meet mandatory requirements. By bringing operations into this, we now have the ability to integrate a reliability better practice from an operations-driven perspective. So you have operators on the equipment all the time, and with some basic training on how to assess condition using, low-cost instrumentation. I mean, you can get infrared cameras for $300 that will take a temperature reading. So we can show operators how to do those basic measurements.
Okay.
And then do those measurements, and they feed that data back into the CMMS or whatever the solution that the client's using. So it's almost like a manual IoT program, because you have people who know the equipment doing baseline inspections, vibration, infrared, ultrasound, and it sounds very complex, but it's not. It really is very simple at that stage. and then they start to actually become more involved in that model. So again, it starts to, it meets many requirements, and it's a very simplistic approach.
Okay, all right, okay. And how do ODSR programs contribute to the sustainability efforts of organizations, particularly in terms of environmental protection and resource efficiency?
So we do far too much unnecessary maintenance using legacy practices. If you
Okay.
look at the early days of reliability center maintenance, it was from primarily you do an assessment of the asset, and then depending on that assessment, inspection, test,
Yeah,
whatever,
yeah,
will detect what you do. So what I'm saying is just because you're doing a 12-month shutdown turnaround or a 3-year shutdown turnaround, why are you doing that when we can assess the condition of the asset using operators initially, and when they find alarm maintenance get involved? But the impact on sustainability is huge, because if I'm not shutting down to do unnecessary maintenance, I'm not using unnecessary parts, oils, lubricants, all the service items, I'm not tying up manpower, I'm not
yes,
shutting down process.
yes,
Sustainability is about making the most of what we got and doing things that unnecessarily utilize assets that we don't have. Sorry, utilize support structures like parts, labor, etc.
mhm.
That's
Time
just a
as well.
waste of money. It's just a waste of money. So now people are saying, you know, that actually makes sense. And it's lovely when we talk common sense. And this is common sense. If you can inspect the asset and it's okay, then why are you doing anything else?
Yeah,
It
yeah,
brings no value. And then, you know we can inject more defects into the system by doing shutdowns. You know, we know massive failures occur after shutdowns. Anybody that's ever done something, they can shut down, restart the equipment, and something breaks because someone's made a mistake, someone's rushed it, someone's done something incorrectly. So by avoiding unnecessary shutdowns, we can absolutely impact our carbon footprint reduction requirements and sustainability efforts through safety and reliability.
yeah, and it can increase the operational efficiency as well. Yeah,
You're not
yeah,
shutting down. That's
yeah, exactly. Yeah,
product flowing. There's product flowing. So, if you want us, the long game for ODSR reliabilities and safety programs is to reduce the amount of unnecessary shutdowns that we do. And when
yeah.
we do shut down, we're only repairing certain
Mm.
aspects of the system that we found to be defective, and we're not tearing the whole system apart.
Fair enough, fair enough.
Yeah.
Now, can you compare the effectiveness of traditional safety and reliability programs with those incorporate ODSR principles, particularly in reducing incidents and improving operational performance?
Yeah. So traditional, as I say,
Yeah,
safety is one thing. Reliability is another thing. And if you look at most people, they don't look at safety and reliability as
mm-hmm,
being the same thing. So you have two separate pools of manpower, two separate budgets, two separate operating constraints, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So by combining those, there's efficiency straight away. But from an operator-driven safety program with operators involved in the day-to-day baseline inspections of doing an infrared scan and taking a temperature measurement or reading a gauge or doing, in the traditional, what we used to call rounds and readings in the facilities
mm-hmm,
like, by giving that over to operators through operations, you're doing a lot more inspections. You're going to catch things far earlier on the
mm-hmm,
PF curve, if you're in what we call a PF curve, but you'll catch things far earlier. You'll find that change of state. Now, by finding things early, it costs a lot less to repair them. It's not a reactive maintenance, it's a planned maintenance
mm-hmm,
requirement. And we already know, but if reactive maintenance, yeah, people are running around crazy, more accidents happen during reactive maintenance, far more accidents, 4, 5, 6, 7 to 1 increase than
yeah,
anybody doing a planned maintenance activity. So ODSR enables baseline inspections, frontline trending, and upfront inspections, repairs, and mediations before it gets too bad, which can only improve safety and reliability. And it's, again, think of if this is a common sense approach.
yeah,
When you go to the doctor, The doctor does an examination on you. He doesn't open your chest to check your heart. He does an EKG. He does your blood pressure. You do a blood test. So we test your body to make sure it's running okay. And on the result of that test, the doctor say, great, see you next year. Or we have to do further investigations. So if it's, I will say to clients, if it's good enough for you and your body and your life, which is the most important thing to you, why isn't that same concept good enough for the assets that we manage?
Yeah, it's more to do in line with a more of a predictive maintenance and a predictive operation style as well, if I'm not wrong.
And language is important. What I find with clients, when you use the term predictive, people think if you're using predict, you can predict failure.
Yeah.
You can't predict failure.
Yeah.
You can predict a change of efficiency. So if I know I need so many gallons per minute or so many liters per minute out of a pump system, and I'm monitoring that, I want to do the repairs as it starts to get towards a level where I say, right, when it gets to so many gallons a minute, then I have to do some maintenance on that pump because it's outside of operational performance aspects. Because, you know, again, when you point out to people, 80 to 90% of assets have no end of life. We change assets because we want to improve performance and energy efficiency and everything. So unfortunately, when you're dealing with some higher managers, when you say predictive engineering or predictive maintenance, they think you can predict to the minute when a piece of equipment will fail, and you cannot do that. I prefer to do condition-based repair or condition-based maintenance, because we're maintaining or repairing based on condition, because I cannot predict failure. Makes sense?
Yes.
So language is everything. So I'm a little bit pedantic about that, but I try and say to clients, predictive engineering is a very deceiving is the wrong word, but misunderstood concept by people outside of engineering. You know, predicting to poor performance, we're not predicting to failure.
Okay. All right, great. Now, in what ways do ODSR programs facilitate a culture of safety and reliability across all levels of an organization? And how does this culture contribute to the overall organizational performance?
And that's, I mean, all the things that I love about ODSR programs, it's about a culture shift, because unfortunately you have operations and you have maintenance. And they do this. And they do it, unfortunately they do, because maintenance need to do something and operations say, no, you can't. And operations want to do something and maintenance say, no, you can't. So they can be at loggerheads sometimes. So what we found is by incorporating an operations-driven safety and reliability program, we're alleviating some of the more mundane data collection tasks from engineering to operators. We have engineering mentors as part of the ODSR program and operations mentors as part of the program. Those mentors start to create a bridge between two parts of an organization that traditionally are very combative. Because they always say one can't do one thing or the other. But by bringing that in, first and foremost, big problem we have in the workforce now is we can't find skilled engineers. We haven't been training our engineers. We're using technology to try and underpin. So what I found is, and data proves this out. I mean, I think I've got a case study on an ExxonMobil site where over 50% of their maintenance engineers came through operations. Through an ODR type platform. So all of a sudden you're training operators, and we have 3 stages of training: level 1, level 2, level 3, to teach them how to get data, build programs, and become a more intricate part of that operations maintenance bridge. Then you're training people up that traditionally maybe don't have a what we more call a classic education, where they can go into engineering. Very bright young men and women, but because they've not been trained or had the opportunity to go to university, then they work in operations. But they can surprise you by their innovative approach to engineering and what they bring into there. So you've got these younger men and women coming up through ODSR. You have that collaboration between maintenance and reliability to, maintenance are very happy to try and hand off a lot of this baseline inspection work because it uses up their valuable time where they could be doing more with regards to improvement programs and things like that.
Mm-hmm.
So with that in mind, that culture shift is you're feeding your skill set, lack of skills through an operations-based program, and you're building a more, should we say, appreciative audience or an appreciative division within engineering that understand, these guys are bringing something more to the table, and by, then we're driving reliability and safety, reliability, that, and it really does help. And then top-down approaches, when we're not doing all these unnecessary shutdowns and we have a much increased throughput, then everybody's happy. And COVID was a exact requirement. I mean, during COVID, we couldn't shut down. People can hang on a minute, we're doing less shutdowns because we can't shut down. We're making more product. We're actually saving more. We're saving money. We're saving money. We're making more money, and we're managing quasi-effectively. I mean, we did during COVID find there were issues with condition monitoring and equipment designs that had to be changed so we could do the monitoring more effectively. But yeah, no, it really does help culture because it develops teamwork.
Yes. Now, what challenges do organizations face in implementing ODSR programs into the existing asset safety and reliability framework? And what strategies have proven effective in overcoming these challenges?
Well, change management, people hate change. So, but we already know there's a complete science and, industry around managing change. So first and foremost, you need to get an acceptance that this program will work. You need to look at the operational holes within a company and what do we need to do? Where are our challenges? For instance, here in North America, we have a thing they actually call it the silver tsunami, where we've got 10 to 12,000 engineers a day leaving the workforce. We don't have 10 to 12,000 engineers a day coming into the workforce. So, they're sort of jumping on. So there are these challenges, but a good acceptance, a top down, senior management buy-in, we always know is a must. And by getting the operators involved and training them and educating them on what we're trying to achieve, we're not trying to take anyone's jobs away. We're not trying, because there's a great deal of distrust. If you make changes, well, what, I'm going to lose my job? No, I don't. I actually don't. The reason I have to make changes is I don't have enough of you. I'm trying to make you more efficient. And then so it's culture. Comes from a good change management program, a good acceptance of the benefits that the program is going to deliver across the whole platform of safety and reliability. But my biggest challenge is getting people to accept that safety and reliability are one of the same thing. Once they accept that, then the program, because everybody, if you look at maintenance is always viewed as an overhead. People will say we can cut back on maintenance, but I've never heard anyone say we want to be less reliable. I've heard them say we do less maintenance. So making people realize within the maintenance world that actually you're not maintenance engineers anymore, you're reliability engineers. And the concepts and scopes that we're moving towards that. So as a reliability engineer within the organization structure, you're viewed as an asset, not a liability. So you have operations reliability, maintenance reliability, and it all comes in. But I think once we get senior management buy-in, and obviously they see the benefits from a financial standpoint, we get operator buy-in because they see the benefits from a career path progression from operations into maintenance, which is a personal progression. And then the mid managers, they're the hard ones. But as I say, culture, and they say culture trumps process every time. So good change management program. I know that's a bit long-winded, but a good change management program to drive a culture change and show the benefits of these programs across all silos of the business, and then just time.
Yeah.
You have to prove it works. Small programs. You're not changing the world overnight. We're going to take small silos of the business where we see the best low-hanging fruit, where we can show the benefits of the program and start propagating that from there.
Yeah. So thank you so much, Martin. This was
No, thank you. Yeah.
a great knowledge sharing experience for us as oil and gas life. And as you rightly said, people combined workforce of operations and maintenance together, making a culture change and improvising change management with ODSR strategies would be definitely an asset to all the oil and gas industry. So thank you so much for your valuable time. It has been a pleasure to have you join us today. And we look forward to meeting you and the IRISS team at the Asset Integrity and Reliability Show in Muscat next month. Until then, stay safe. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much. Thank you. Looking forward to seeing you all.